Netflix is officially buying Warner Brothers. Snyderverse fans, we are officially so back. Good evening, YouTube. Dfromm here, coming at you with excitement because I don't know if you've heard the news, but yes, Netflix, they are to buy Warner Brothers Discovery for a clean $72 billion. The total deal is worth about $83 billion that Netflix is actually going to have to put up for this because Warner Brothers has a whole lot of debt. But that's not what we're interested in. What this means is the Snyderverse is one step closer to coming back. Someone commented on one of my YouTube shorts that I posted for my last Snyderverse video. They said, "The Snyderverse is dead. Move on." They said this in all caps. Well. Look where we are now. It's looking like more and more every day that the Snyderverse is actually coming back. And as a Snyder fan myself, I am very excited. We're going to break it down, show you what this means and why the Snyderverse actually could be coming back here. So again, here on Reuters, Netflix to buy Warner Brothers Discovery. So this is interesting. They're buying the Discovery Studios. So they're buying like the intellectual property, the HBO Max, the streaming stuff, but they're not buying the traditional television stuff because that is a failing business. The real stuff they want is these properties like Harry Potter, like DC. And yes, we completely predicted this in our last video, which actually popped off, by the way. Thank you. 500 views. Holy smokes. But yes, we predicted it. Snyderverse is back. Netflix buying Warner Brothers. I'm trying to figure out what I'll make the title of this video because that's exactly more the truth now than it was then. And when I made that video, there were rumblings that Netflix was, they tapped an investment bank to see if they wanted to buy Warner Brothers, and now they did it. They have won the bid. They have beat out Paramount, which everyone thought Paramount was going to get this. Everyone thought, no way Netflix actually wants to do it. They said they're only pretending to want to buy them to up the price for Paramount. But no, Netflix actually pulled the trigger on this. They are buying Warner Brothers Discovery, and this is huge news for Snyder fans. If you didn't see the prior video, or if you haven't heard, why is this such a big deal, you might be asking? And it is because Netflix and Zack Snyder are working very closely, and they have been for a while, on movies such as Rebel Moon Part 1 and 2 and Army of the Dead. They've given Snyder a ton of opportunities on Netflix to make movies in his own vision. You might not be super into the news cycle. You might be sitting there asking, why is it such a big deal that Netflix bought Warner Brothers? And how does this affect the Snyderverse? Well, this is huge because Netflix and Zack Snyder are working hand in hand on a ton of films. They've given Zack Snyder a ton of money to create movies such as Rebel Moon, the Rebel Moon series, Army of the Dead, things like that. So with Netflix buying Warner Brothers, it brings Snyder back with his beloved DC Extended Universe. So this Screen Rant article dives into even more. And this is crazy. Zack Snyder's one condition to return to the DC is closer to coming true, of course. In an interview in 2023, about 2 years ago in December, Zack Snyder said the one condition for him to come back and restore his DC universe is if Netflix owns the rights. And now the one condition has been met through this purchase, Netflix, of Warner Brothers Discovery. And if Netflix is game, then Snyder is absolutely game to bring back the DCEU. And I am so hyped. This is huge. All the pieces are coming together. They've called Snyderverse fans, they've called us crazy for years that it's dead, it's never coming back. But we are mighty, we are loud. The Snyder fans have not given up, and neither has Zack Snyder. He got an Instagram lately. We saw some of the posts in the last video, but he is continuing to post picture after picture of the DCEU and the Justice League from his universe. Just 7 hours ago, he posted this picture of Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, from Batman v Superman. all his content that has DCEU related stuff gets a ton more traction than all his other posts. So crazy to see this Gal Gadot coming back potentially as part of the resurgence of the Snyderverse. I think Gal Gadot is definitely a iffy actor, but as Wonder Woman, she rocks it. Very big fan. And this is crazy. 5 days ago, he just posts, it's the perfect night to watch the black and white cut of Zack Snyder's Justice League. So I guess he has a black and white version of the great and famed Zack Snyder's Justice League when he was brought back to complete his cut of Justice League, and everyone loved it. This was the first big win for Restore the Snyderverse, and now he's posting this again, and I don't think he's missing the obviousness. He's obviously trying to convey, hey guys, you should watch the the Snyderverse Justice League cut, because hey, maybe it's gonna be come to completion. You got to catch up on this. So this is crazy that he posted this. Obviously, getting a lot of likes. Restore the Snyderverse. Everyone in the comments. Perfect night to announce Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3. Absolutely. Make the Batfleck movie. Everyone in the comments is going crazy. They want to restore the Snyderverse. This is absolutely nuts. Photo by Clark Kent. We see Henry Cavill and Amy Adams, of course, Superman and Lois Lane in Man of Steel. A picture from them. It looks like it's maybe a little old from the time of Man of Steel, but obviously he's trying to make moves, and this post went nuts with 500,000 likes. The people want the continuation. They want Man of Steel 2. They want Justice League 2 and 3. They want the Snyderverse to be completed. And last post here, this one is just awesome. The battle suit from Batman v Superman. This is my all-time favorite Batman suit. So sweet. And he's just going crazy posting all these pictures from his Justice League, his version of the DCEU that was not able to come to completion. But now that Netflix is officially buying Warner Bros. Discovery, it's all looking like Snyder might get his chance that we've all been waiting for a very long time now. However, there's a few pieces of worry that might lead to some doubt that it would actually happen. So the first thing people are bringing up when they're casting doubt on the return of the Snyderverse, even though Netflix did purchase Warner Bros. Discovery, is that Netflix has been canceling some Zack Snyder projects. Though he's had a lot of success with things like Rebel Moon, they canceled his Army of the Dead sequel in 2024, as well as it looks like he had a Norse mythology animated series and a LAPD SWAT movie. I had no idea about those, but it looks like those were canceled. However, it does look like his movie, The Last Photograph, is still in production, so they haven't wiped Snyder off the map completely, but people are bringing this up to suggest that maybe Netflix and Snyder's relationship is not where it could be, because there has been a lot of mixed feedback to some of the Snyder projects on Netflix. However, when I read the news that Netflix is canceling some of these other Zack Snyder projects, my immediate thought is maybe they know he's going to be busy with making some Snyderverse movies. Maybe he's making Justice League 2, and obviously I think that would be a more exciting project for Snyder to undertake. I'm sure he would pick that over an LAPD SWAT movie. I think Netflix knows what they're doing. They know they're purchasing Warner Bros. Discovery, and they need Snyder ready to bring back the Snyderverse. Maybe that's why they're canceling some of these projects. You might call me idealistic, a crazy Snyderverse fan, but just because they're canceling a few Zack Snyder projects doesn't mean they would not be interested in bringing back what is so anticipated by so many fans and would do numbers for Netflix, that being a new Justice League movie, Man of Steel 2, things like that. Another risk is, though Netflix has won the bid for WBD, they have not instantly assimilated. They don't immediately get to own them because there's regulations and antitrust, and this is causing a lot of concern in the Trump administration, it sounds like, because Netflix is already the biggest streamer in terms of monthly active users. They have 46%, and this purchase would bring them to 56%. Honestly, I expected more. I guess HBO Max only holds 10% of the monthly active users for all streaming markets. It just shows the size of Netflix is just massive. But this puts them over 50%, which starts to get real close to monopoly territory, which could mean the trust could get busted. They could get split up and this deal could get denied. But the fact that they're only going for a portion of Warner Brothers Discovery, not the television portion, could make it a little more plausible. Still, there is a huge concern around the fact that this could get broken up. There is still a long journey ahead for this deal to become approved and for our Snyderverse to happen. Lastly, what's going on with James Gunn and his universe? We talked about how James Gunn himself was unsure about the future of his DCEU, but it sounds like James Gunn is going to be fine, at least for now. His theatrical releases will continue. That is another concern. People are like, is Netflix going to release everything on streaming and not the movies? Which that is one thing I would not be very happy with, is if Netflix ignores the theaters, because I love the theaters. I love the theater experience. That is very important for me and for movies and cinema in general. It looks like, at least for the near future, that James Gunn will get to continue his DCU with Man of Tomorrow. And James Gunn's Superman movie, it did pretty good, so I'm not surprised. It wouldn't really make sense for them to scrap it entirely for the Snyderverse. I don't think that would be a good decision. But James Gunn is okay with the DCEU having multiple universes. We already have the Batman existing in a separate universe and the Joker movies. So obviously the most viable course would be to have the Snyderverse probably direct to streaming, be a separate universe as it already is, and James Gunn's universe can continue in their cinematic releases and then come to Netflix afterward. So everyone, there you have it. Netflix officially buying Warner Brothers. This really could mean the Snyderverse is returning, and it's never looked more possible than it does right now. However, the road is still unclear. Could this deal get broken up because it's too much of a monopoly? Who knows? It could be. I sure hope it doesn't, because I want to see the Snyderverse restored, but I also understand that it could get dicey with Netflix owning everything, especially when that means they might just put everything on streaming when theaters are already struggling enough. And James Gunn fans, don't fear, because you're not going to get the universe wiped away, and I don't want to see that either. I just want to see the Snyderverse be able to come back and come to completion in its own separate universe. It looks like Zack Snyder himself is also very optimistic that this is going to happen. So comment below if you think the Snyderverse is coming to fruition for sure now. And I will say, I kind of called this in the last video. I kind of called it, and I woke up today and I checked the news and I was like, wait a minute, it's actually happening. Netflix won. Can't believe it, but we'll stay tuned on things Snyderverse and other things as well, but this is the hot news. So comment below what you think, like the video, subscribe for more. Thank you.